Hi everyone, this is Simon Says Anything, and what you're looking at right now is a wall, obviously, but it has just been treated with a chemical called mold control right here. I had a serious issue with mold, and this is an exterior wall. This tends to get very damp in the winter because of condensation. It's a very old home, so there's very poor insulation, and it was behind this IKEA wardrobe for a few years now without anyone looking behind there, and it was just a disaster. So this is after cleaning it up. So this mold control actually is the last step in this treatment. It didn't look much different than it does now before I applied it. This is more for preventative and killing all the mold underneath the surface. But at this point, I'm just letting it dry. And I looked around the house, and lo and behold, there's other areas similar to this that we're going to be looking at, and I'm just going to go through the steps I used on this wall to clean it up. So here we are again. Now we're in my son's bedroom where you can actually see the mold. It was behind this desk in the corner, and again it's two exterior walls. So in the winter, when it gets very cold outside, in a corner like this where it's behind some furniture, a lot of condensation builds up, and over time you end up with a mess like this. Now this is nothing compared to what was in the other room. I have some photos of that I'll show you, but this looks like a much smaller job, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be nice and clean after we're done. But yeah, this whole wall here has some signs of mold. So the first thing we're gonna do here is actually clean off the heavy surface mold and dirt and dust, which is gonna make cleaning the stains off a lot easier later on. And all I'm going to use for that is just pure white vinegar. There's going to be enough chemicals involved later on, so for this step this is good enough. And before I even do that, I'm going to put on some nitrile gloves. I just got these at Costco, but they're pretty durable. But yeah, I don't want to get any mold on my hands directly, so I'm definitely going to want to protect my hands here. All right, so I'm just going to pour some on this paper towel. It's okay, and then just give it a good wipe. As you can see, this is coming off nicely. Definitely not as bad as the other area, the other room, but still, over time this stuff gets in deep, and it does stain. But it might be a little bit of staining after the surface clean that we'll get off in the next step. So after I'm done this, I'll get back to you with the next. Here we are again. So I finished wiping down this corner here. I wiped down the walls. Now there was a few cobwebs, a bit of surface dust on the walls, and that actually makes the situation worse because it traps that moisture against the wall, and it's probably also where the mold takes root initially in that dust, and then it just transfers onto the wall and grows. So it's probably a good habit to get into, at least maybe in the early fall. Just go behind these walls, the furniture, and move the furniture away, clean the walls of dust, cobwebs, whatever, before the cold weather comes, and then that condensation doesn't have a chance to get trapped against the surface. But now we're going to go to the next step, which is actually removing any stains. There's a bit of staining, as you can see, against the wall there. The vinegar just can't take that out. So at this point, I could just use the mold control on this, and that should kill the mold, but the staining might remain. So for aesthetic purposes, I'm going to actually remove that staining, and then it'll also help me monitor in the future if there's any new mold growth. If you have a clean wall, you'll know immediately if some new mold has grown on there. And I'm just going to use some bleach-based cleaning solution. This isn't a good mold treatment in itself, but this is just purely to remove the staining, and then we'll go from there. So at this point, I just sprayed some on a paper towel, and I'm just gonna rub it against the wall. You don't need much to remove the staining. Remember, it's bleach, so it will damage certain surfaces. So I'm just going to use it very sparingly, but it does effectively remove that staining, and you're going to have a nice clean surface to put the mold treatment on. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. If there's a tough stain, you just sort of rub it a few times right over it, and it's just going to melt away. But again, this is not an effective mold treatment because there is mold, underneath the surface. That's where it takes root, and bleach isn't very effective at getting to that. So if you just stopped here, that mold is going to come back eventually. So we're just going to do this to make it looking nice and clean. All right. That looks nice. So at this point, you wouldn't even know there was any mold in this section. All right. Well, let's now take a look here at the after, and I might just touch up a few more spots, but as you can see, you can't really tell that there was any mold there. All right, so here we are. I just did one last wipe down with vinegar just to remove the excess bleach, and now we're ready to apply the mold control. I just filled up this old spray bottle just to make it easier to apply it, and I'm just going to apply it liberally on the walls and a bit of the molding. Just up the walls here. And you're just supposed to let it soak in, let it dry for 24 hours, and hopefully that will prevent mold from coming back easily. But in general, I'm going to keep any furniture a bit further away from the wall to let some air circulation against the wall happen, because you don't want that air to stagnate and let the water sort of, or the condensation to beat up and stay moist behind here. So move the furniture a little bit away from the walls, keep it dust free, and this just shouldn't come back. And it's probably also good to maybe give it one treatment of mold control every early autumn, just to be safe. and we'll see how it goes. One more thing, if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the like button. I'll add affiliate links down in the comment section for the products I used, and happy mold hunting.